about motherfucking
all right, now
Alex Jebediah Jones, okay, everyone's favorite commentator. Now, you already know Alex Jones and I have a bit of a rivalry. He calls me Hank Pecker. Hassan Pecker. Not Hank Pecker. That's my alter ego. I bet he would love Hank Pecker if he ever met him. Okay? Alex Jones is in a bit of a hot water, okay, because, he had a oopsie moment, and he did the whole, like, Sandy Hook was staged thing, okay? Did the whole, Sandy Hook was staged, it was fake. And then his followers were like, yeah, that's right. And then they harassed the parents and the victims of Sandy Hook. Okay. And guess what? Things are not looking too great for old Alex here. Okay. Things are looking, as a matter of fact, real bad for old Alex here. Okay, let's take a look at what's going on. There's a defamation case happening right now against our brave patriot, Alex Jebediah Jones.
The latest on a family that lost a child in the Sandy Hook massacre, trying to rebuild their lives and to punish the man they accuse of spreading lies and causing chaos for them. Talk radio host Alex Jones has repeatedly given airtime to claims that the 2012 school shooting in Newtown, Connecticut was staged by the government. Those are quotes. Parents of 6-year-old Jesse Lewis are suing him for $150 million. As Janet Shamlian reports, Jones and the boy's parents came face-to-face yesterday during heart-wrenching testimony in an Austin, Texas courtroom.
I can't even describe the last 9.5 years of the living hell that I and others have had to endure because of the negligence and the recklessness of Alex Jones.
Neil Heslin and Scarlett Lewis, the parents of Jesse Lewis, addressed the court Tuesday in their lawsuit against Alex Jones. Heslin and Lewis say they live in fear after receiving death threats, unwelcome emails, and phone calls as a result of Jones's lies.
My home was shot up. Vehicles were shot up in my yard.
Jones, who was noticeably absent for Heslin's testimony, was recording his podcast, continuing to attack the parents.
He was literally calling them slow and autistic on his broadcast while the fucking parents were offering testimony about how much they were impacted by Alex Jones' statements because his followers decided to act out his desires. Holy fucking shit.
I think it's a disrespect, and I think it is a cowardly act of Alex Jones not to be facing me here in this courtroom.
Jones appeared in court later Tuesday.
I don't think that you understand the repercussions of going on air with a huge audience and lying.
Shaking his head as Lewis spoke to him directly.
Jesse was real. I am a real mom. I know you know that. That's the problem. I know you know that. And you keep saying it. You keep saying it. Why?
The judge appearing to grow frustrated with Jones's attitude during the hearing.
I remember him currently.
Stop. Remember day one where I said, it's an unfair world and you don't get to interrupt the judge?
That's a woman judge. That's why women should not be allowed to serve in court. That's obviously because I'm a patriot and I said the truth that I said. A woman judge is going to try to take me down, just like divorce court took me down one time, ladies and gentlemen. AlexJones.com, Infowars.com. Women judges should be made illegal.
Sure. Yeah.
Jones attempted to speak with the parents after taking the stand, shaking hands with them. An attorney for the family quickly ended the interaction, exchanging words with Jones on the way out of the courtroom.
Oh, I wasn't kidding. Oh, I know this, by the way. For the record, I do know this. Alex Jones said the judge and the plaintiff's lawyers in the Sandy Hook trial all act demonically possessed and are committed to an occult ideology of the New World Order.
Thank you for joining us on this live Tuesday worldwide transmission. I have a stack of Washington Post, New York Times articles, and other headlines where they say, can we shut Alex Jones down? And where they admit the goal of the 4 Sandy Hook trials they have lined up that have now started to shut us down. Then they brag on CNN and MSNBC with top Democrat officials that the goal is to set this pattern with Alex Jones and then go after everybody else.
I'm sorry that it's 1P, boys. Okay, just shut the fuck up and listen. Okay, just listen. Just listen. Just listen. Just how about you listen?
They say Fox News is next. I have articles where they talk about we're taking down OAN. Soon we'll get Fox News. They're going to come for everybody. These are authoritarians. That's why they had to default me in all 4 cases, saying I turned over nothing. While they sit there and show the juries, they're deciding how guilty I am, not if I'm guilty or innocent. Showing the juries all these emails and all these videos that we turned over to them while the judge tells them every day, twice.
You know what's really funny about this? He's just describing how, like, fact-finding works. Okay? He's literally just describing how, like, the normal court procedure would work in a defamation suit like this. And he's the one who is, this is the evidence that you have to present to a jury and the judge on a fucking trial. Like, he's literally just describing discovery. But because you're supposed to go, oh, yeah, well, that's Alex. Like, he's a good guy. I love him. He's right. You just don't even think about it like that. You just go, oh, man, that's right. That's really fucked up that they're, hurting my man like
today.
this.
Remember, this man's guilty. You're here to decide how guilty he is. He didn't give us anything. He's a bad person. Even in third world.
Dude, every chatter in here is such a fucking spoiler alert, Andy. Can I just go through the fucking story at the pace I want to? Yes, if you're sending a fucking link with Alex Jones's lawyers involved in text messages, you think I don't fucking know this already? You're not the first to bring it up. Let me just walk through it. This is called pacing, okay? I'm pacing through the story. Can you stop trying to be the first guy to like fucking cuck the content here? Yes, we're going to get to the thing that you're all collectively sending.
World dictatorships, when they have kangaroo courts, they don't have the judge tell the jury this person is guilty. But she says up there, it's a special case. And they're all caricatures of what you would imagine in some alternate universe of dwarf goblins. It's demonic. They all act demonically possessed. The judge, the lawyers, it's surreal to be around them. And it makes you feel sorry for them because these people are committed to a cult ideology of the New World Order. And they're never going to stop. They're getting rid of all the checks and balances, all of our basic freedoms. They've gutted the border. They're promoting pedophilia everywhere. They are just
Bro, if I was under a fucking defamation suit, I probably wouldn't call the judge a pedophile. You know what I mean? Like, when you're currently on trial for defamation and you're getting your ass blasted, okay? Why the fuck would you turn around and be like, the judges are doing pedophilia, they're pedophile, demonic monsters? Like, he just can't stop himself, I think. Do you still think he's CIA? Yes. You went in, double down. That's why you aren't as great a showman. I am not as great a showman as Alex Jones. That's true. I have said time and time again that Alex Jones would be an incredible performance artist, and he was an incredible performance artist. The problem is that we as a society are not equipped to just take in what Alex Jones is doing as performance art and just like appreciate his mental illness. We are also collectively so mentally ill that we listen to him and we go, well, this guy is not just entertaining, he's also right. And I must act. I must act out his desires. Do you understand? You guys know that I am a gigantic a fan of Alex Jones, like straight up. I have talked time and time again The best evidence that Alex Jones is a true conspiracy guy is that he could have easily hired a top-tier firm to capably represent him, but he doesn't trust the establishment, so instead he hired a parade of bumbling morons who immediately tanked both their case and their careers. Which, by the way, this is what I need to explain to you. Alex Jones is a brilliant, brilliant entertainer, okay? Anyone who has done anything in the entertainment industry will recognize that if you are able to separate the artist from the art. And I'm not the only one who felt this way. I mean, that's why he made appearances in A Scanner Darkly and plenty of other movies originally. You know what I mean? Like, it's just true. But the issue is, of course, that, you know, he takes it way too fucking far. Way too fucking far. And he's also a gigantic piece of shit with respect to, like, how much he makes money. Okay? With how he makes money. All of his bits, I guess, or all of his conspiracy theories genuinely revolve around making money for himself. We'll talk about how the frogs are being turned gay by government water, and then immediately after that, he'll use that as an opportunity to say, here's how you can, you know, not get fucking owned by government water and turn into a homosexual by getting some of my straws, like the water cleansing straws, right? So that's how he makes his money. And for the record, he makes a lot of it, okay? I just need you to understand something here. Like, when I found out through discovery, through following this court case, how much money this motherfucker was making, it blew my goddamn mind, okay? Real top G behavior. Folks, Alex Jones made upwards of $800,000 a fucking day, according to court documents. The texts and emails are finally revealing financials behind InfoWars. Some days in 2018, InfoWars was making $800,000 a day. Well, after your deplatforming, your numbers keep getting better, says the Sandy Hook parents' lawyer. If they keep that up, that's $300 million a year. Alex Jones says $800,000 a day was a really good week during CPAC, where they were doing better business. Just want to add that Alex Jones's latent cough came back in full force when his own text, which he didn't know Sandy Hook's parents had access to, appeared on a screen full of courtroom, and he was asked to read one. And the only reason why we know this information is because Alex Jones decided to do the Elon Musk thing, shouts out to Felix Biederman for this joke, and hire fucking Twitter lawyers, I guess, because his team is so incompetent. Remember, we're talking about $800,000 a day this motherfucker was making, okay, in 2018. $800,000 in one fucking day. That's like XQC doesn't make that kind of money. You understand? A couple things I must say about this is, one, time and time again, I have told you, it is infinitely easier to become a reactionary, right-wing grifter than it is to be a fucking left-wing broadcaster, even if you are not a grifter, okay? The idea that anyone who's dumb enough to fucking try to become a grifter on the left is hilarious. As you have seen, as I talked about yesterday, left-wing grifters get fucking owned by the FBI. Right-wing grifters become Alex Jones and interview the fucking president, who then becomes the fucking president. How do you feel about Alex Jones making over $800K per day after getting deplatformed after a week of annoying people telling you to stop platforming Andrew Tate? I don't even want to fucking talk about that comparison. We have lied, stolen, looked badly, and used God's name in vain, so repent and trust in Christ, for he saved you hell on the cross for you. Someone sounds jealous? Brother, I am incredibly financially secure as a consequence of my wonderful community and how sizable this community has been. and the dedicated fucking support I get, not only emotionally, okay, but also financially. That is the reason why I can say whatever the fuck I want without being in fear, without ever caving to editorial control, okay? I don't sell you shit. You have the capacity to subscribe if you want to, but you don't have to, as you all know, okay? Alex Jones, on the other hand, is routinely lying and also on top of that fucking selling shit. Do you think deplatforming Jones still limited his audience even if he made more money off of it? Yes, I do. I do think that. I do think that deplatforming Alex Jones was good, ultimately. What you also don't understand is that Alex Jones still had a gigantic fucking platform in AM radio. He was all over. And he still had a vast amount of support, like a vast amount of support from right-wing reactionaries who would go on a show. The president was on a show, man. Now, part of the reason why we know that is because, and here, finally, it's time to show you this big reveal. His fucking law team are comprised of absolute idiots, okay?
So you did get my text messages. And it said you didn't. Nice trick.
Yes, Mr. Jones.
Oh.
Indeed. You didn't give this text message to me. You don't know where this came from. Do you know where I got this?
No.
Mr. Jones, did you know that 12 days ago, your attorneys messed up and sent me an entire digital copy of your entire cell phone with every text message you've sent for the past 2 years, and when informed, did not take any steps to identify it as privileged or protect it in any way. And as of 2 days ago, it fell free and clear into my possession. And that is how I know you lied to me when you said you didn't have text messages about Sandy Hook. Did you know that?
I told you the truth. This is your Perry Mason moment. I gave them my phone, and then...
Mr. Jones, you need to answer the question.
No,
Did you know this happened?
No, I didn't know this happened. But I mean, I told you I gave them the phone over.
Just
And
answer the question.
you said in your deposition, you searched your phone. You said you pulled down the text, did the search function for Sandy Hook. That's what you said, Mr. Jones, correct?
And I had several different phones with this number, but I did, yeah. Of course. I mean, that's why you got it.
No, Mr. Jones, that's not why.
My lawyer sent it to you, but I am. Okay.
Mr. Jones,
Mr. Jones,
please just answer questions. There's no question.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's that. Oh, I forgot to mention. Oh, that's right. Child porn was found in documents Alex Jones sent to lawyers of Sandy Hook families, according to the court filing. Oh, man. Oh, my, oh, my. How the fucking turntables? And Hot Chips and Gnome Chomsky and Elements of Style. Thank you for the gifted subs. Dynamic Jab and a Small Taco. Thank you for the gifted subs as well. Now this is the older fucking article. The treasure trove. The absolute treasure trove of data that we are going to get. This is from 2019. The absolute treasure trove of data that hasn't been completed. Now that his lawyers didn't even try to fucking say that this discovery should be taken out, that they accidentally sent the entirety of text messages and everything else that they fucking sent over to the Sandy Hook lawyers and the Sandy Hook families. Oh my Lord, dude.
Mr. Bankston also only asked questions.
Sure. Mr. Jones, in discovery, You were asked, do you have Sandy Hook text messages on your phone? And you said no, correct? You said that under oath, Mr. Jones, didn't you?
I mean, if I was mistaken, I was mistaken, but you got the message.
He's like, yeah, I perjured myself, whatever.
It's right there.
You know what perjury is, right? I just want to make sure you know before we go any further. You know what it is.
Yes, I do. I mean, I'm not a tech guy. I told you, I gave in my testimony the phone to the lawyers before or whatever, and so you got my phone, but we didn't give it to you.
No, Mr. Jones. One more time. And please remember, if you need to assert the Fifth Amendment, you can. I need to know that you can do that. But you testified.
Keep going, and I don't think Joe Rogan will invite you on. I mean, what do you want me to do? I don't know if they fucking did this shit on purpose, but goddamn, dude, it sure feels like it was done on purpose considering how fucking awful they are. I mean, look at his face, bro. This is literally the moment that he realizes, like, they have all of his text messages, like everything from his fucking phone. Every single thing from his phone. Right here. Please, Lord, please pull off the hat trick and find messages to trans women wanting to hook up on Alex Jones' phone. Bro, we already know he's a fucking chaser. What do you mean? We already know he's a chaser. We know he's a chaser, dude. Remember his fucking... Dude, so was that other Nazi fuck. They're all chasers. Everyone that fucking talks about trans people in the way that they do, like, about how devastating and dangerous trans people are, unironically, half of those dudes just are upset that they want to fuck trans women. And they think that that makes them gay. They think that there's something wrong with them. And that is part of the motivating reason as to why they want to be so fucking brutal. Not every single transphobe is a chaser, but there are plenty of fucking transphobic people that are. Chasers are people who objectify and want to fuck trans people and like can only get off the fucking trans porn and that makes them gay, and now they're gonna make it everyone else's problem. Exactly. And now it turns out January 6th committee is planning to request Alex Jones's text messages and emails from the Sandy Hook attorneys after his lawyer accidentally sent years worth of comms to the plaintiffs, dude. So, you know, it ain't over, boys. It ain't over. Hold on 1 second. Let me just run that back again. That's right. So Alex Jones might be facing a criminal prosecution on top of this defamation suit. That's right, baby. That's fucking right. Rarely ever do you see this kind of karmic justice. But I guess after fucking up for so many goddamn years and you know, making up the $800,000 a day off of it, you end up, you know, slipping through the cracks no matter how fucking fat you are. Just saying. Does he just have the worst lawyers in the world? Yes. The January 6th House Committee is preparing to request the trove of Alex Jones' text messages and emails revealed Wednesday in a defamation lawsuit filed by the victims of the Sandy Hook massacre. Rolling Stone has learned on Wednesday, Sandy Hook victim's attorney Mark Bankston told Jones that his attorney had mistakenly sent Bankston 3 years worth of the conspiracy theorist emails and text messages copied from his phone. Okay. Now, a source familiar with the matter and another person briefed on it tell Rolling Stone the January 6th committee is preparing to request that data from the plaintiff attorneys in order to aid its investigation of the insurrection. These internal deliberations among the committee, which is probing the former President Donald Trump's role in causing the deadly January 6th Capitol riot, began within minutes of the lawyer's revelation being heard on the trial's live stream on Wednesday afternoon. And you already know this motherfucker is heavily involved in January 6th. Jones is already featured prominently in the panel's investigation for his role in whipping up the public support for the insurrection and for his close ties to alleged conspirator Stewart Rhodes, the leader of the Oath Keepers militia. Jones frequently hosted Rhodes as a guest on his InfoWars channel, and his militia provided security for the Texas Bay day. Okay? The only grift you hear here, and this broadcast at the top of the hour ad break, which comes at the top of the hour every hour, a 60-second ad break, which is not even a fucking real pay. Oh, there's that. Oh, I forgot to mention. Oh, that's right. Child porn was found in He was all over. And he still had a vast amount of support, like a vast amount of support from right-wing reactionaries who would go on a show. Brother, I am incredibly financially secure as a consequence of my wonderful community and how sizable this community has been and the dedicated fucking support I get, not only emotionally, okay, but also financially. That is justice. But I guess after fucking up for so many goddamn years and you know, making up the $800,000 a day off of it, you end up, slipping through the cracks no matter how fucking fat you are. Just saying. Does he just have the worst lawyers in the world? Yes. The January 6th House Committee is preparing to request the trove of Alex Jones' text messages and emails revealed Wednesday in a defamation lawsuit filed by the victims of the Sandy Hook massacre. Rolling Stone has learned on Wednesday, Sandy Hook victim's attorney Mark Bankston told Jones that his attorney had mistakenly sent Bankston 3 years' worth of the conspiracy theorist's emails and text messages copied from his phone. Okay. Now, a source familiar with the matter and another person briefed on it tell Rolling Stone the January 6th committee is preparing to request that data from the plaintiff attorneys in order to aid its investigation of the insurrection. These internal deliberations among the committee, which is probing the former President Donald Trump's role in causing the deadly January 6th Capitol riot, began within minutes of the lawyer's revelation being heard on the trial's live stream on Wednesday afternoon. And you already know this motherfucker is heavily involved in January 6th. Jones is already featured prominently in the panel's investigation for his role in whipping up the public support for the insurrection and for his close ties to alleged conspirator Stewart Rhodes, the leader of the Oath Keepers militia. Jones frequently hosted Rhodes as a guest on his InfoWars channel, and his militia provided security for the Texas-based conspiracist. The committee initially subpoenaed Jones in November 2021 and asked him for turn over documents and participate in a deposition. Jones, according to a letter sent to the committee, was initially told by the White House that he was to lead a march to the Capitol where President Trump would meet with protesters. It's unclear what specifically the committee will be looking for in the Jones communication, but attorneys with the Sandy Hook plaintiffs have accused the InfoWars host of intentionally withholding relevant information, relevant communications about the Sandy Hook shooting, and lying about having conducted a search for them. A committee spokesman declined to comment. The documents were turned over by Jones' attorney, who did not take any steps to identify it as privileged or protected in any way, and as of 2 days ago, it fell free and clear into my possession, Bankston told Jones on court on Wednesday. That is how I know you lied to me. How incredible. This is convincing me that Alex Jones is CIA. Now they have texts with fash gangs. All I'm saying is, I've been under the impression and have talked about how I personally believe that Alex Jones is fucking CIA and that his goal ultimately is to belittle and undermine real conspiracies that the government engages in regularly by having one good take in a sea of 1,000 psychotic takes to make it seem like every time you say something like, well, did you know about the MK Ultra trials? It's like, well, the only person who's talking about it is someone like fucking Alex Jones. So ultimately, you're going to be like, well, he also talks about psychotic pedophile vampires and shit. So obviously, all of that must be fake. Alex Jones is a fake conspiracy theorist created by the CIA to ensure that real government conspiracies, conspiracy to conspire, you know what I mean? I'm not talking about fucking conspiracy theories. Real things that the government does makes it seem ridiculous because the only person who's outing said things is a belligerent, psychotic person with high blood pressure. L-Take is just a dumbass. I don't know, man. I don't know. And by the way, PFD commenter and myself 100% agree on this for the record. This is what we originally were going to talk about. I should DM him and be like, let's do it. I'll take you give him too much credit. I'm just saying, dude. If he was CIA, he would have half-decent lawyers. No, the CIA is woke now. Okay? The CIA is fucking woke now, so now they're turning on one of their old assets. There is that theory that if Alex Jones didn't exist, the CIA would invent him, so there is a possibility. W take people who think he's not CIA or sheep. Come on, brother. How did the Zapatistas tie into this then? Why would a CIA asset buy from their law? What? Are you fucking insane? The CIA, when it comes to international operations, is an equal opportunity jobs provider. They will work with anyone and any person they can. They'll work with fucking leftists too every now and then. Why the fuck wouldn't they? Who gives a shit? They fund everybody. I've told you this before. They arm everyone. They don't give a fuck. They more often than not work with the Taliban. They more often than not work with reactionary groups, right? But they'll still fucking work with, they'll work with anarchists. Who do you think fucking trained the Kurdish militias, dude? Like, where did that come from? You think they just like fucking personally learned how to use those weapons? Like, no, of course they were fucking trained by the CIA. It's true. How did that happen? How did the YPG get arms and also training? How did that happen? Yeah. Those were benevolent volunteer American veterans. Yeah, just like those same guys in the fucking cargo pants. Just like those same guys in cargo pants in Ukraine, you know what I mean? Remember those guys? Remember those guys that were like talking to fucking Anderson Cooper? That were in suspiciously good shape despite being like many, many years out of military service? Suspiciously. Just, they just had like, they suspiciously were in great shape and they just love wearing cargo pants. They were just benevolent ex-military volunteers that were there to teach the Ukrainian military how to use the new American toys they got. It's just called working out, Lamau. I'm just saying, like, YPG, so you're saying Brace Society? No, of course not, dude. Obviously not. But just ask Brace if he thinks that who the trainers were for the YPG. I'm sure he will. Don't ask him that; he'll get annoyed. But like, have you heard him talk about who the Americans are? I've talked to him about it on my podcast and shit. I worked with Ludwig before he joined Hamas. Anyway, yes, I know a U.S. congressperson fucking died in a car crash, okay? I don't care about that right now. I don't care. Stop. I think you are CIA shifting the blame Alex Jones. Yeah, me famously. I am an asset, of course. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, let's continue with the trial coverage here, okay? Because there's still a lot that went into this incredible trial. I don't care about the reaction to Alex Jones, but here.
Jones outside court continued to say the families were being manipulated. For Lewis and Heslin, their son's life and death was very real.
He did live. I was blessed with 6.5 years. He's been gone 1.5 times. But I cherish those days, those years with Jesse.
For CBS Mornings, Janet Shamley in Houston.
I'm speechless.
There are no words. There are no words.
You know, one of the parents said, it's like losing a limb. Like, I know it's supposed to be there, but it's not there.
My heart just goes out to those families who, after all these years, are still suffering and are still in pain and are still going through this trauma.
And the record.
Anyway, let's see. There's more. Let's look at some of the best moments from. Let's look at some of the best moments from the Alex Jones trial thus far.
Mr. Jones, you may not say to this jury that you complied with discovery. That is not true. You may not say it again. You may not tell this jury that you are bankrupt. That is also not true. You may have filed for bankruptcy. I don't know that, but I've heard that. That doesn't make a person or a company bankrupt.
I mean, easy on the attacks there, Sweaty. You're clearly dealing with a neurodivergent person. You know what I mean? Like, he's a pathological liar. He can't stop himself. I mean, you're just going to really shit on a man because he can't fucking stop himself from lying? Like, okay, well, it's kind of fucked up. And you know, don't ask me if he's neurodivergent. Alex Jones says it himself, you know? Famously, both on the Joe Rogan Experience, but also even in the court.
Look, here's the thing.
Fine. Listen,
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded.
So there's that. But also, he said that in court as well.
You're already under oath to tell the truth. You've already violated that oath twice today in just those two examples. It seems absurd to instruct you again that you must tell the truth while you testify, yet here I am. You must tell the truth while you testify. This is not your show. You need to slow down and not take what you see as opportunities to further the message you're wanting to further. And instead, only answer the specific and exact question you have been asked. No asides. The comments about discovery, the comments about the larynx or whatever it was, the comments about bankruptcy, none of those were responsive to questions. They were just you abusing my tolerance and making asides to the jury improperly and in at least two cases, untruthfully. Do you understand what I have said? Yes or no? Do you understand what I have said?
Yes, I believe what I said was true. So
Yes, you believe everything you say is true, but it isn't. Your beliefs do not make something true. That is what we're doing here. Just because you claim to think something is true does not make it true. It does not protect you. It is not allowed. You are under oath. That means things must actually be true when you say them. Don't talk. You understand what I have said.
I do understand.
You understand the instructions I have given you for your testimony in court.
Yes.
I'm not going to bring the jury back today. My staff is listening. They can let the jury go home.
What the fuck are they looking at over there?
We'll start back up tomorrow. When you come back to testify tomorrow, one more time, no asides. You understand what I mean when I say no asides?
Yes.
Answer only the question asked of you. Do you understand what I mean when I say only answer the question asked of you?
Yes.
You understand you will still be under oath when you return tomorrow morning
Yes.
to complete your testimony. All right. And you understand that that means you must only testify about things that are true.
To the best of my knowledge.
If you don't know something, you don't say it. If you're asked about your opinion, you can give your opinion. But if you're asked to relate something that's truthful and a fact, it must.
Oh, here. This was the Alex Jones court chat, by the way. Praying for you, Alex. We love you and deserve to speak your First Amendment right. The way the courts are treating you is out of line. Hashtag free Alex Jones. And then the other person saying, the real Alex Jones is not even there. Which is true. It's true. How could he be doing his broadcast and also be in court at the same time? You know what I mean?
Must be truthful and a fact, not an assumption, not a guess, not an opinion. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. You can say.
All right, let's continue. Oh shit. So he starts coughing whenever they ask him to read text messages.
Sure. One of the things you talked about yesterday is you complied with discovery, right? You said that on the witness stand?
That's one of the things I talked about.
Okay. One of the things that you were ordered to do in this lawsuit, you were ordered to turn over any text messages mentioning Sandy Hook, right?
Yes.
And you didn't have any, right?
Not that we could find.
And you in fact told me in your testimony, sworn testimony before coming to this courtroom, you searched, right?
I did.
Okay. Do you remember, were you here for Mr. Schroeder's testimony?
Yes.
Okay. You remember when Owen said, the company has learned from its mistakes about Sandy Hook? You remember that?
I did hear him say that.
You agree with that?
Yeah, we've certainly learned from our mistakes, got a lot better.
Okay. Mr. Jones, I'd like to show you what's been marked as plaintiff's exhibit 130. You've got it upside down. That's text messages between you and Paul Watson, isn't it?
Yes.
And they mention Sandy Hook, don't they?
Yes.
Plaintiffs move 130 into evidence.
Any objection?
What's that? Show you where what?
No objections.
Plaintiff's 130 is admitted.
Can you bring up 130? Let's zoom in on the little article up in the corner, please. I'm going to walk over to this to you so we can kind of point it out. I know it's a little hard to read. You may be able to read it a little better on your screen. But this is a zoom of Mr. Watson has sent you a screenshot from Infowars.com, correct?
It appears to be.
Yeah, and it has an article here, right?
Yes.
And it says, staged. Video shows hospital using dummies in ER for coronavirus footage. What it says?
I believe so.
They're saying that the coughing is only when he's like under pressure he starts coughing, which is like a really cool and fun way to try it, I think. It's a really cool and fun way to try and get yourself out of a pinch, is like strategically being like, oh, I can't read those text messages, I'm coughing.
Let's go to the first message from Mr. Watson.
I'm blasting lung darts outside. Folks, ladies and gentlemen, Infowars.com, AlexJones.com. I'm blasting lung darts, okay? I'm smoking gars. He's a gar boy. Big gar boy, you know?
Read along with me, Mr. Jones. He says, this is a video.
Sorry, excuse me 1 second.
No problem. Take your time. You ready?
Yeah, this, you may not think it's a problem, but it's a real one.
Sure.
Just give me a second. All right, go ahead.
Mr. Watson says, this is a video of a medical student training to intubate. Makes us look ridiculous, suggesting this means COVID is fake. Sandy Hook all over again. I read that correctly?
Yes.
Go to the next message.
I love that they're having internal conversations about, like, dude, come on, bro. You went too far. You went full. You know what I mean? You went full silly Billy. Never go full silly Billy. That's the convo that they're having back and forth internally. You know what I mean? And Alex probably's like, I don't give a fuck. Because when everyone's a silly Billy, you can go full silly Billy. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how it works, right? And their fucking full silly Billiness has actually unironically benefited them. Remember, these guys made $800,000 a day. Okay? The only grift you hear here, and this broadcast at the top of the hour ad break, which comes at the top of the hour every hour, a 60-second ad break, which is not even a fucking real paywall. And you can even avoid it by subscribing for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Okay? That's right. Becker Protector Sohaib, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Anabot, thank you for the 5 gifted subs as well. Allowing 10 people to no longer see the ads. You can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky. If not, you can subscribe on your own and make your own luck by subscribing for $5, or if you don't have $5, for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. Here's the 1-minute ad break now. Right. I still don't understand the point of this court session. What's going on here? What's going on here in this court session is that Alex Jones is being sued by the Sandy Hook parents for defamation, for things that he has said about how Sandy Hook was fake. And he's getting his ass beat. He's getting his shit pushed in. He's getting his guts currently rearranged on trial.
What'd you tell Mr. Watson?
No, it is not a criminal case. It's a civilian case, or it's a civil case. Civilian. And there might actually be a fucking serious criminal case that's attached to it now, as we found out, because the January 6th committee now has access to a treasure trove of data that the Alex Jones trial team gave to the other side's lawyers for free on accident. 2 years of emails and text messages from that same time frame, like from the 2020, all the way leading up to the January 6th, all the way to the January 6th insurrection. Now the January 6th committee, which originally subpoenaed Alex Jones, is asking for that treasure trove of data, considering that his team didn't even fucking make that information privileged. They literally leaked it, basically.
I get it.
Mr. Jones, it's true that this article is right now live on Infowars.com. I can pull it up, right?
I've never seen this text message. I guess you guys got Paul's. My phone didn't save them. So that's fine with me.
Your phone didn't save the second.
I told you guys I gave it to the lawyers and said they drained the phone, they didn't find that stuff. I don't know how my phone's.
Who gave it to the lawyers? They were supposed to find it. So that's what testimony is?
No, I searched it as well. I mean, so you guys have all this stuff and you say we didn't give anything. It's
Mr.
ridiculous.
Jones, you know how an iPhone works, right? You've had iPhone text messaging for several years now.
Yeah.
What does it mean if the messages are in blue? Whose messages are those? Whose phone is this taken from?
I don't know whose phone's taken from. I mean,
It's
I just
yours,
turned the phone
dumbass.
over and said, take the stuff off.
Can I have you look in the very bottom below the very bottom left corner? Is that your phone number?
Yes. So you did get my text messages. And it said you didn't. Nice trick.
Yes, Mr. Jones.
Oh.
Indeed. You didn't give this text message to me. You don't know where this came from. Do you know where I got this?
No.
Mr. Jones, did you know that 12 days ago, your attorneys messed up and sent me an entire digital copy of your entire cell phone with every text message you've sent for the past 2 years, and when informed, did not take any steps to identify it as privileged or protect it in any way. And as of 2 days ago, it fell free and clear into my possession. And that is how I know you lied to me when you said you didn't have text messages about Sandy Hook. Did you know that?
I told you the truth. This is your Perry Mason moment. I gave them my phone, and then
Mr. Jones, you need to answer the question.
No,
Did you know this happened?
no, I didn't know this happened. But I mean, I told you I gave them the phone over.
But just
And
answer the question.
you said in your deposition, you searched your phone. You said you pulled down the text, did the search function for Sandy Hook. That's what you said, Mr. Jones, correct?
And I had several different phones with this number, but I did, yeah. Well, of course, I mean, that's why you got it.
No, Mr. Jones, that's not what happened.
My lawyer sent it to you, but I'm hiding it. Okay.
Mr. Jones,
Mr. Jones, that?
please just answer questions. There's no question. Mr. Bankston also only asks questions.
Sure. Mr. Jones, in discovery, you were asked, do you have Sandy Hook text messages on your phone? And you said no, correct? You said that under oath, Mr. Jones, didn't you?
I mean, if I was mistaken, but you got the messages right there.
You know what perjury is, right? I just want to make sure you know before we go any further. You know what it is.
Yes, I do. I mean, I'm not a tech guy. I told you I gave in my testimony the phone to the lawyers before, whatever, and so you got my phone, but we didn't give it to you.
No, Mr. Jones. One more time. And please remember, if you need to assert the Fifth Amendment, you can. I need to know that you can do that. But you testified under oath previously that you personally searched your phone for the phrase Sandy Hook, and there were no messages. You said that under oath.
Yes.
And you lied when you said it.
No, I did not lie.
Emails. You testified yesterday you don't have it. You got rid of your email 10 years ago.
InfoWars email.
Oh, so now it's InfoWars. You do use email though, don't you?
Not. It's like household stuff and things like that.
So it's
I don't personally send emails.
Sure.
My assistant does, and it's for like broken sprinklers or whatever.
Okay. So you don't have emails about Sandy Hook. You don't have emails about this case.
You got hundreds of thousands of our emails.
None from you. And I didn't get hundreds of thousands of emails. Most of those, in fact, you would agree with me, nearly every email you've produced to me outside of maybe 100 are emails of Wolfgang Halbig and Jim Hudson. Because they sent you thousands of emails, right?
I mean, I quit opening email and using it before Sandy Hook.
Okay. So, in other words, if somebody was to tell me, oh, I have emails from Mr. Jones that he wrote about this case in the past couple of years, that person would be lying? You're telling the truth?
Somebody else has got my InfoWars email because I haven't been using it all.
That's not qualified, Mr. Jones. You know in this case you were asked to produce your emails, any emails you had about Sandy Hook. You know you were asked to do that, right?
Yeah.
And you said you didn't have any.
I told my IT people, go, you've got all that stuff.
No, Mr. Jones, I'm saying in deposition, under oath, sworn to God, You said you don't have any emails with Sandy Hook because you don't use email, right?
I mean, I think I have. I mean, I haven't been using Infowars email, and it's got to be a decade or longer in my memory. We're with Infowars.com, you know.
No, Mr.
Why'd he stop coughing, you think? What happened? Well, is there a particular reason why he stopped coughing? I mean, he's still getting fucked. I wonder if the dick that went down his throat cleared it up a little bit.
No.
Hey, thank you, Andrew Filer, for the 10 gifted, and thank you, Anila, for the 5 gifted.
It's not what I'm asking. You notice when Mr. Watson emailed you, right? He didn't have an Infowars email address, does he? He has like Paul Watson at sky.com. It's a UK email address. Did you notice that? Right. We asked for all emails, and you told us you don't use email, and there are no emails for Sandy Hook. That's what you said under oath, isn't it?